what I wanted to talk today about is how does one stay on point? And I don't know if it seems to be being on point. It seems to be like I don't know. How easy is it? To stay on point. So I'm just going to give an example, if it's possible. Yeah. What is that even like there? So we're just going to go through that. Jump on. Discuss. Discuss. Here we go. All right. I'm going to just play it and we'll go from there. Now there's a guy talking. Now this guy's talking straight out of a program. Okay, so how do you know someone's talking straight out of a program? Because the program is a defence. It's a defence program. Yeah. Anyone speaking in court, it's basically a defence program. You're defending a program that isn't even yours, and you don't even know where you found it and where you picked it up. But you picked it up and you start using it as if it's your life or terminology or whatever it is about what you're speaking. It's basically one is pretty much speaking from a program that's been adopted onto themselves. How do you know that? Well, let's have a look.
G'day, Jason, Richard, Peter. I'll ask once yesterday.
So what's happened? The judge asks a question. The first thing this guy does is overrides the judge. So whenever you override someone, are you listening? How does one listen if overriding the one in front of you talking? So overriding, has anyone ever been overridden by conversation before? Because it's very difficult to communicate, and for there to be a meeting of the minds or an understanding if there's overridden communication. So anything that's overridden, basically, is one actually listening. So when you override the one in front of the judge can pretty much organise a warrant for your arrest, and that's what he's doing.
Yes, I only answered that. I'm not the trust.
So the judge talks about the charges, and then the guy talks about the trust. And
I'm not the accused. I have no business with this court.
I have no business. So every statement that he makes, he's got all the business with the court. So a statement means now we're in business, and anyone who speaks from the I statement, and if you listen and if there's a transcript, and this is very common in most courts, it's very, 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 very hard for anyone to actually hear themselves speak from the I am perspective. It's somehow because of the identification of I am, that's all we're going into is the is just basically speaking from that mindset without actually listening. So hang on, I'll just double check here. All right, let's keep going.
No contracted informant. They're not considered doing business with the prosecution, and
See, the judge just asked one of the most powerful questions you'll ever receive. And the question is, why are you here? Unbelievable question. It's a question that's quite profound. So the judge is actually showing you how to ask questions in court. Yeah, he's asking you, why are you here? How do you reverse that question when you go to court? how do you deal with the charge? As soon as he goes, what do you want to do with the charges? And then you go from there. He goes, why are you here? Well, why am I here? That then let the judge explain to, why are you here? So if you're able to hear the judge, you're basically able to hear, okay, so why are you here? That's a very, very, unless you've tried that question out in court, the question, why am I here? It's quite a question. Why is that? Because most people actually already in possession of the notice or the what do you call it, the warrant, that brings you to court, and the judge has already assessed that you're in possession of that notice. That's why he's asking you, why are you here? If you do not interpret, you'd be asking, why am I here? That's probably the number one question. So can you see how with these questions, boys and girls, there's no rocket science about these, about, some arsehole like me sitting here and talking to you guys. Can you just for a moment just fathom the possibility of there's nothing new, there's no one special here in showing anyone anything. It's just the judge. So can anyone actually hear what the judge is saying? Like, I mean, is it too hard to see or hear? I don't know why it is that way, but once you start to listen to the judge, it's a completely another reality. It's kind of crazy. So
I was assaulted in front of my house, and I'd just like to show you some documents here, so I don't have to speak. I've got a UCC1 filing, and I've obviously a secured party.
You see, he's wanting to show the judge something, and what does the judge say? I'm not interested. he doesn't want to hear what you have to say. Well, why would he want to hear about you? You're just a bloody claimant, a moron who needs to be blown off, and that's it. So the judge is pretty much showing you, you're talking. You don't go to court and talk. You go to court and start talking, the judge is going to put you through the mincemeat. So if you can't figure that one out, you just don't go to court and talk. The more you talk, what do you think's going to happen? The judge is just telling you, I don't want to hear what you've got to say. I don't want to hear what you're going to show me. Yeah. He's just showing you. He's just laying it out for you how to do court. All right. Well, let's see what else he's going to lay out for you. I don't know if anyone can hear the recording. It's a bit crappy. But anyway, we'll just go with what we can. See, the judge goes, are you pleading guilty or not guilty? Okay, straight into it. This is everywhere, yeah? Guilty or not guilty? Right, you're pleading guilty or not guilty? Okay, so that's, the plea is always, pretty much straight into it, okay? The plea is all about the where and when. How do you plead? Because there's obviously knowledge, which is possession of a date, a time, and a place. That's really all a plea verifies, a where and when. You're guilty or not guilty to that occasion. Pretty simple. It's actually so simple, but hey, how easy is it to even conceive it or even perceive what they're talking about? Because the head is just so full of shit.
I'm not the trustee, I'm not the accused.
There you go. I'm not this, I'm not that. Now, if one was able to listen to themselves, how many times in court they actually speak the I am. And then all you need to do is listen to what the judge says. When you're speaking the I am, you're basically speaking from the primal forces of the universe. You're the God Almighty.
I have no business with this court. I have no contract with employment.
I have no contract. What's the opposite? I have a contract. I have no business. You have business.
I'm here under duress.
I'm here under duress, and on and on and on he goes. Just count how many I ams. I reckon you got about 50 by the first half minute.
Whether I have any interest, I don't have any interest in these proceedings, and I do not join with the accused.
So the judge goes, what do you want? What would you like me to do? And then he says, if you have no interest, what would you?
I'm not the trustee. I'd like to say it again respectfully. I am the secure party. I've also already stipulated. I'm Jason Richard of the House of Pindar.
That's enough. You are Jason Richard.
I am not the trustee. I am not the accused. I have no business with this court. I have no contract with this court, and I'm here under duress, under protest and threats.
So he's just spewing out a program over and over and over and over again, hoping that what his program has taught him is going to save you. So the program is that we're relying on knowledge. We are relying on information that was spewed out of someone's mouth or spewed out of God knows whatever radio or somewhere they've heard some guru talk, and now they're starting to adopt that program. And now they come to court and spew it out, and the judge basically goes from there. See, the judge is there to do one thing, basically sentence you for taking a program that doesn't belong to you. And these programs, it's all about, court is about the program that you started taking a program from kindergarten, or even before that, started taking a program from mummy and daddy, and now we've adopted a program that's so well set inside us that the very system that encouraged us to take the program is now the same system that persecutes or prosecutes you because of that program. So it seems unfair, but you've had such a good time and a good life so far. Now it's crunch time, and now you're going back to court now with the programs that were spoon-fed to you, encouraged for one to take these programs, and it was successfully inserted by an individual, these programs, and now that there's the identification set in concrete, you go to court and all one can do is defend these programs. And the judge is pretty much telling you, well, hey, who's the problem here? Because you're going to get hammered for it.
I'm going to hear in 3 minutes, because if I didn't come here, I would have had a warrant after my arrest. I would have got harmed from the process. I said, I'm not the trustee. I do not answer questions.
So you pleading to these charges? That's all the judge is going back to?
I'm not the trustee. I'm not the accused. I have no business with this court.
Okay, so he just keeps spewing forth the same old program. Okay.
I have no contract with the employment. I do not consent.
Now, the problem is with these programs, boys and girls, we will defend these programs to the end. Even before a brigade of an army there who was loaded to the teeth with bullets, ready to fire upon you, you will still defend a program until you're completely filled with lead pellets. And you'll be bleeding and dead in half a second anyway. But yet it just shows that these programs that we are defending to the very end, you got to ask yourself, what's going on here? How is this even possible? That we would even, it's like you're believing things as a nation, as a country, and it's like going to war, believing that there's an enemy out there. I mean, this is the same sort of thing. It's all about war, and the war, it's about the war that's going on between the ears of an individual. And so this war that's going on between the ears is a defence program. And you can hear it all in court. That's why court is so spectacular, because it's the only arena that will actually pull you to pieces and break you down into particles. What other arena on this planet will actually do that for you? That's why it's the ultimate place for renewing of the mind and realising, holy shit, you know, how did I come to be such an abomination? And then that's when you start to realise, well, whose arena is this, and whose programs is all of this, and you know what did I do, you know, for one to come into such a situation where you know, I'm now, you know, there's confiscation of all things, you know, from anything I believed I own, you know, to the body, to the thoughts, and now they're all taken as surety, you know, jail, whatever. You go to jail, you can't prove any of what you're talking about, because anything what you say, that's why the fundamental principle of all this is anything you say or do may be used against you. And if you go by that fundamental principle, then will you choose the words out of that mouth very, very carefully? And will one put those words, if there was words spoken, that you know, put it in a question in such a way where you're not repeating the terminology of the one before you?
These proceedings, and I do not wish to do business with the prosecution.
Take a seat if you're not going to miss these names.
So the judge says, take a seat if you're not going to proceed with the trial.
I've also filed out a form 56B.
There's an obstruction.
Most respectfully, sir.
No.
Again,
So he spoke about respect, and the judge is going, no, there's no respect here, because this guy, when you're spewing out a program, you're armed to the teeth. How can someone who is armed to the teeth be respectful? Listen to what the judge says. So the judge goes, no, that's not respect.
It's not respectful. You come here saying that you are here under duress. So
you came here today that you're under duress. So how can there be respect if you came here today claiming that you're here under duress?
I am here under duress.
And he overrides the judge. Every time the judge says something, he's overriding the judge. Absolutely unable to listen to what he's talking about.
It's stipulated again, I'm not the trustee, I'm not the accused, and I have no business with this court, and I have no...
And the judge is starting to get pissed off with him.
Well, if you want to leave, you can leave.
He says, if you want to leave, you can leave, because you're off on your own. And if you're off on your own, you're a pestilence and a cancer to society. We're going to wish a warrant for your arrest, one way or another. You're going to be found, and we're going to seek you out.
Well, I'm only here under duress.
Oh, here we go.
Respectfully. Most certainly, I need to witness to the events.
So he's going respectfully, like, you know, this guy, does he really know what he's talking about?
I'm willing to assist the court in the seek position to sit quietly in the court until my assistance is required. I answer no questions. So I sent through filings to you through email, showing my ECC filing, ECC1, showing that I'm the landholder of the said estate.
This guy's just one hardcore possessor.
This is much I'm going to say all the information. This has been ventilated in the Supreme Court.
See, the judge is going to basically tell him that this has been ventilated or whatever in the Supreme Court.
On a number of occasions.
On a number of occasions.
And it's been thrown out.
You know, and what you're talking about has been thrown out. Yeah. So anyone that brings any propaganda, the judge, in a lot of ways, whatever one is preaching or talking about in court, the judge is always going to bring it to the attention that anything you say has already been taken to the High Court and thrown out. So that's kind of like the illusion that he puts before you. And in most cases, people believe that. Whether it's, in other words, it's a way of shutting you down in a sense, the program, and then he acts from there.
Right. I'm going to list these as, what are you doing with the other matters that you've got? Same position?
I'm taking action against all the police because they've committed acts against me.
What am I going to do, Sergeant? I'm going to enter pleas of...
See, now the judge can enter a plea of not guilty on all charges, right?
I do not consent to these proceedings, sir.
If I could defence with bail, I would. I can't. But there's an obstruct. There's nothing. It's got to be dealt with at some stage.
Obstruction, it's all recorded. My mother got pushed and assaulted in the process.
Most of the obstruct charges are caused by body footage.
Yeah. I also require full disclosure and everything. I've also stipulated what I need.
You want full disclosure, but you don't want to.
Yeah, but that's for my
You don't
filing.
want to enter a plea.
That's for my filing.
How do you plead to the obstruct charge?
I don't make pleas, sir.
You don't make a plea? I'll make it for you.
I don't make a plea, but I'll make one for you. You see? Can you see how everything works in court, boys and girls? It's made in heaven, if there's such a thing. I don't make pleas. I'll put a plea in for you.
Please of not guilty on all charges.
See, you put a plea of not guilty. That's what the judge will do. He'll put a plea in of not guilty on all charges. So, hang on.
And what date have you got, Chloe?
2nd of May.
2nd of May, 2025. The trial, Mr. Pinder. Understand?
Again, I do not consent.
I heard you first one.
So I do not consent. He's already consented in court. So this is pretty much the program speaking. I do not consent. It's how do you flip it? I do consent. So he's already consented, and that's why the judge goes, I don't give a shit what you're talking about. You consented. You just don't even know it.
I'm going to notice all the charges that I can, Sergeant, to the 2nd of May.
I do not wish to do joinder with the accused also, respectfully.
He doesn't wish to do joinder. He's already done joinder.
I do not wish to do joinder with the accused.
I do not wish. He's wished it because every statement he makes, it's the stranglehold. It's going around his neck.
As well. So just
Who's the accused going to be joining with?
Who's the accused that is joinder with? Isn't it? What a beautiful question. Who's the accused? I love these judges, mate. Who's the accused? Who done joinder with? I've got to listen to that one. That's fucking cool.
I think you know.
Who's the accused going to be joining with?
Who's the accused that is joinder with? So this is how I go about. If wants to go and learn this, this is really what the judges are actually pulling these questions out of that pie hole that one's actually speaking of. And he goes, I don't do joinder with the court. And then the judge goes straight out, he asks this brilliant question.
I think you know.
Who's the accused going to be joining with?
Who's the accused that you're going to be joinder with? Or I think he said something like that. Who's the accused that that is in joinder with? I think that's the one.
The accused as well. So just
Who's the accused going to be joining with?
Who's the accused that you're going to be joinder with? I think that's the one that you are going to be in joinder with. Who's the accused that you're joined with? Yeah, okay. That's bloody brilliant, boys and girls, because you're going in there fighting in court You're fighting yourself. And the judge is even asking you, who's the accused that you're in joinder with? That's a gold question. Where do you think all these questions come from? Well, go and listen to the judge, boys and girls, because you're never going to find a question in school. You're never going to find a question in church, in institutions, or anywhere. Where are you going to find the questions? Oh, the bloody judge. And why is the judge so bloody amazing? Well, who knows what planet they come from, but they seem to find the right questions.
You know.
So, Mr. Pinder, 2nd of May will be your trial date for...
So he said it was your trial date in court. What do you mean by your? He could have dealt with this, possession right through.
Charge numbers 58188.
And also request from the prosecutor all the details regarding this. File I'm action against him for committing assaults and sexually abusing me by looking at my penis and staring at my body.
Anyway, this guy's a hardcore claimant. They might put him up on the firing squad. Who knows?
Yeah, in relation to the obstruct charge, that's going to be remanded.
Yeah, fucking my penis, my body, my asshole, whatever it is.
Wish to act as surety for the defendant.
You don't have to sign your bail if you don't want to.
I already signed it under duress.
2nd of May for trial.
So I'm forced to sign it under duress, under protest, and threats of menace. Is that correct?
No, I don't think so. You have a choice.
You see, I love that question, right? Has anyone ever heard, you have a choice, right? This question, you have a choice. We're just going to play the video in about a couple of minutes with the copper. You have a choice, right? Right? Is this a question you hear everywhere? Well, it's your choice. You have a choice. Really? Yeah. What choice do you believe is yours? Yeah. Think about the choice. Black, white, good, bad, right, wrong. Right? You have a choice. What the hell do you mean by have? You pick one or the other. You divide yourself from the whole. What next?
Threats of menace is threatening the prison.
Right. 2nd of May for the obstruct, bail is in place, isn't it? The bail is renewed, Mr. Tinder. Once you get paperwork, you are free to go. Just to let you know, if you don't turn up on the 2nd of May, you'll be convicted in your absence on those matters that there is a notice and there'll be a arrest warrant.
I'll be taking action against them, but thank you.
Okay.
All right. I think that's it for that one. All right, there you go. So that's an example. Yeah, boys and girls, if that helps in any way, but it just shows how that defence program operates in court, and it's all about the I am and the program that comes spewing out of your mouth, and then the judge goes, who's the accused that one is in joinder with? I mean, that question alone, one would really want to be pondering on that one for like a hell of a long time, because that's where the gold is. So you can see, if there's such a thing as gold, you find the gold out of the mouths of the judges, and all these questions and everything that if I was to say, where did all these comes from? This all came from the study of court, the study of what the judge was actually showing you or showing me, and it's basically, it was showing you how to become whole, and that means you basically, to become whole is where, when you speak, you're not dividing yourself from the whole. And when you speak from the I am, you're dividing yourself in particles from the rest of the whole of all things. So that's why anything you say can and will be used against you, and it will be a perilous journey if one is speaking from the I am perspective. So something to consider. And if it's all right with the Bonez, I'm going to play that one now. This one.
I'm recording as well.
Awesome.
All I'm asking for you to do is to state your full name and present your driver's license as a driver.
But what do you mean?
So all I'm asking you to do, now, first of all, when a copper comes up to you, right, I don't know, can anyone hear or see that?
Yeah,
Yeah, cool. So the first thing a copper comes up, before you open your mouth, right, they're gonna say something out of their mouth. So you're always going to go, you can either start, how do you start off a discussion? First of all, how may I help? That's probably the best way to actually start any sort of engage, anything to this. If there was anything to speak of, it's to speak of, how may I help? That's really, we're coming from the perspective of help. If you do not come from any other perspective other than help, well, it's going to be the way it's going to be, which is it's going to be about possession, which is war. So let's just now the thing about these calls and why a lot of these calls in the past, not so much this one, but what. If a call is to turn into a shit fight, it's because it's a dialogue or a monologue that's going on in someone's head. They want to speak and run. It's like a horse bolting without the carriage, and it's like how when we've been doing these so-called calls in for the last several years, probably the last few years, where we only deal with the first proposition and we break it up and we stop the call. It's like when someone speaks the first sentence, I go, whoa, could you just pause it, slow it down? They don't want to slow down. They want their whole story to be heard. So if you need someone to listen to your story, you need to be heard. That's where you can go on other calls and discuss philosophic discussion. Whereas these type of calls is always about the understanding of what it is someone means by what they're saying. And that's why it's stopped every time someone opens their mouth. Everything is broken down. It stops at every proposition. So you say one thing and it normally goes for about, say you might speak, you might want to tell a story, but you open it up and then it's like one sentence is, I'll come in and I'll go, hey, if I may, there's some gold in there, there's something to break up. And that's why a lot of these times, these type of calls are extremely frustrating for some people, is because these calls aren't about being agreeable it's completely about how do we renew the mind, how do we break these assumptions that are being made, how do we break them up in such a way where we bring it back to the lowest common, if there's such a thing, uncommon denominator, which is the 0 point. How do we come and bring everything back to zero? So let's go.
What do you mean by your?
To do so.
What do you mean by your?
That's not a question.
How's it not a question? How's it not a question?
Because it doesn't make sense. I'm asking you all I'm asking for you to do is to state your full name and present your driver's license as a driver.
All I'm asking now, when an agent is saying all I'm asking, right? You can pretty much go from the beginning is you can always ask how may I help, right? And then they're going to now ask something of you. How are you going to deal with them asking something from you? Okay, so you just want to listen to that.
But what do you mean by your? What do you mean by your?
That's not a question.
Now they're going to say that's not a question. Okay, so these centurions, it's very fascinating, and I might even put one of the calls that I did very similar to this, which is a very similar. I might actually do it next, actually, if I can find it. Whereas they do not. It's kind of like asking these questions. It's the last thing that these calls are wanted. It's like the last thing. It will be the most rejected thing that it's the most rejected thing that can be conceived. Why? Because it's pre-interpretation, it's pre-knowledge, and I don't understand. She's right. She's telling you that you're talking nonsense, and nonsense is she's right on point, because she's encouraging you. This is like a school teacher. She's encouraging you to take this program. And what's this program? Well, it's right in front of us.
How's it not a question?
Asking for you to do is to state your full name and present your driver's license as a driver.
But what do you mean by your?
Okay, so that's good. Straight off, listening for your. What do you mean by your?
What do you mean by your?
Because what do you mean by your? She's just given a lot of information now. Your brings everything back to zero. So she's got to start again. It's quite a physics lesson. If you want to see this as a physics exercise, then seeing it straight up like that, it's the perfect balance of physics. So you can see it. Watch what happens.
Not a question.
How's it not a question?
Now, I don't know if I would ask, how's it not a question? Because when you're asking, how's it not a question, now this is where the renewing of the mind comes, boys and girls. Straight away, when you bring up a negative, you've just cancelled out the, what do you mean by your? So on one hand, you're asking, what do you mean by your? On the next hand, you're being you bring in an objection. You bring in an objection to what she is saying. So as soon as you bring an objection to what she is saying, you've provided evidence of a combatant. Now, you see, boys and girls, how easy is this? This is an example of the programming, yeah? If you want to see what the physics have just happened, you want to know, well, hang on a moment. I'm asking, what do you mean by your? And now let's have a look at what happens next. That's why these coppers are in perfect, synchronization to what comes out of the mouth of anyone. And this isn't about pointing the finger to anyone, because you're giving it a go, which is fucking 150,000% awesome. I'm just talking a bit of bullshit there, but I'm just saying it's a fantastic example of how physics of a technology, which is the language or words, whatever you want to say, is going to be used against you. Anything you say or do is going to be used against you. Now, when you ask, how is it not a question, you've just put yourself back into a perspective. And if you're not sure about what is that question, why is that question so loaded? Well, we'll look it up. First of all, go to the dictionary and just start doing your own bloody due diligence instead of listening to some idiot on this end, and find out and do some due diligence there. Ask yourself, what is not? Well, not, it's very simple. A negation, denial, refusal, prohibition. So straight away you're going into an interjection, right? So in other words, the previous statement is untrue. So you're in objection to the force in front of you. And that's the force, the police force. And they're the force, whether you like it or not. And you've gone against the primal forces of nature, which is the question that one is asking. It may be in good faith, but hey, is it good enough? Well, let's find out.
Because it doesn't make sense. I'm asking you what your name is.
And what do you mean by your?
Your personal name. The name
What
that
do you
belongs
mean
to
by
you.
your?
Okay, we can go around in circles, but as I've stated, if you don't provide us with those details, you'll be arrested.
What do you mean by your?
So the choice is currently in your hands as to whether you provide.
There you go. Oh, mate, this is fucking gold, isn't it? Have a listen to this. Now, did we hear this before? Boys and girls, all you got to do is connect the dots. You heard it in court. Now you hear it from the force. What's the force say?
Your full name, by
What do you mean by? What do you mean by your?
So the choice is currently in your hands as to whether you provide.
The choice is currently in your hands. Yeah? What do you mean by your? Good. Yeah? What did the judge say? You have a choice. Yeah? What did the Batman once say? Or probably thousands of times. Oh, it's your choice. You think it's a choice? This choice thing is about intent, right? Once you discover intent is all about possession, you taking possession. In other words, you're making a choice between this and that, right? That's your choice. You need to do this, or you're going to suffer the consequence of that, right? Start connecting the dots. Now she's already heard what come out of the mouth. These guys, these centurions, these police, or whatever you bloody want to call them, their hearing is in perfect alignment. They don't have any issue with hearing. It's only the individuals before them who seem to have an issue with hearing. And we're going to find out where's the hearing loss.
Provide your full name.
What do you mean by your?
Come on, you little fucking thing. All right, hang on a second. Hang on a moment. All right. All right. Can anyone still on the call?
Absolutely.
All right. Even the little bubba. Hang on a second.
All good.
All right. Okay. Hang on a second. What's going on here? All right. So I'm just going to see if I can open that bloody one up again. Hang on a second. New recording. Hang on a second.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm recording as well.
Awesome.
All
All
right.
I'm asking for you to do is to state your full name and present your driver's license as a driver.
So what do you mean by your?
Required to do so.
What do you mean by your?
That's not a question.
How's it not a question?
Because it doesn't make sense. I'm asking.
How's it not a question? Right? Just ponder on these. This is something it's not going to make sense for quite some time. But she already said, how's that not a question? It doesn't make sense. So she's already gone into contest with you by providing you, listen, it's so subtle.
Asking you what your name is.
How's it not a question?
Because it doesn't make sense.
Now, she goes, this is how physics work, boys and girls, right? She's going, because it doesn't make sense. Now, because I brought up the negative, and the negative is providing first-hand evidence, right, that I'm dealing with a combatant. How did she verify that? Because she says it doesn't make sense, because you're stating something that is in objection to her. How is it not a question? Now, would I be asking that question next time? That would be something for one to ponder on.
Excuse me,
I'm asking
Boon.
you what your name is.
And what do you mean by your?
Your personal name. The name
What
that
do you
belongs
mean
to
by
you.
your?
Okay, we can go around in circles, but as I've stated, if you don't provide us with those details, you'll be arrested.
What do you mean by your?
So the choice is currently in your hands as to whether you provide your full name.
What do you mean by your?
What's your full name and current
What do you mean
residential
by
address?
your? So you yourself.
Now she basically turned over to her collaborator, right? Because they're always work in twos in collaboration. So he's coming over now, right? Because they've already verified a combatant. So even though they're asking the possession, it just shows how the possession can very much easily be cancelled out. I'm going to give you, if I can give you an example with one that I've done, and it might shine a bit of light on what we're talking about, because this is complete nonsense, as everyone would probably agree.
What is your name?
What do you mean by you?
Get out the car.
Now he said, get out of the car. All right. So again, that's what do you mean? This has happened to me. I go, what do you mean by get?
Get out the car.
What do you mean by you?
Get out the car. Get out the car.
Get out of the car. Get out of the car. Yep. This is a big one.
So I'm getting manhandled for that.
Now I'm getting manhandled. Get out of the car. Right? Get out of the car. Now I go back into possession. I'm getting. All right. This is invisible stuff, boys and girls. I'm getting manhandled. Right? You see, if I said that this stuff is incorruptible, without doing the renewing of the minds, without actually investigating this, right? Get out of the car, get out of the car, get out of the car, and then they grab you, right? And then one is stating, I'm getting manhandled, right? That's now another objection, and basically it's perceived to them. It's not about me or any other asshole. You need to look at it from their perspective. How do they see you? This is all the game is about, boys and girls. This is not about some kind of pointing the finger exercise here. No, this is all about how is it that these guys, how do they perceive the one before them, right? This is all it's about. It's nothing personal. It's just business. If you can't see the subtleties of this exercise, you'll be going through an exorcism.
You're under arrest for what?
You're under arrest. Now, you go, you're under arrest, and you go, for what? Now, that question, for what? And this is a real head fuck, but how they see it is he's looking for information and they're going to give you an explanation. All right? For what? You know, what is it about? Why am I being arrested? So you're seeking out knowledge, information. And when you're seeking out information or knowledge, it's enough to take you down.
Sell the state details. That's not, what do you mean? Just grab my phone and
Yeah, my phone.
Because I didn't identify her.
Because I didn't identify, now we're going into reason. As soon as we go into reason, what do you mean by your? What do you mean by your and all of that? It goes back to zero. They've now got grounds, means for an arrest. Don't need much. Very, very simple.
I don't know what you mean.
I don't know what you mean. Another negative. I don't. Right? I don't know what you mean. Okay? Now, these questions that one's asking out of their mouth, this is a common program that we speak of. I'm getting manhandled. I don't know what you mean. How would you rephrase these questions? Because this is really what we're looking at. And then you start asking yourself, holy shit, you telling me this possession crap, this doesn't work. You're telling me it doesn't work. It won't work. It doesn't matter what you do. You're going to be fucked one way or another, because because what's coming out of the mouth, it just shows it's extremely simple, but how easy is it? And credence to the brother who's given it a go. It's nothing really. It's not about the finger on him. It's about how it's viewed. You need to look at it. How and why did they do what they did? And this is all comes back to the physics of this technology, which is the language, the program that one is speaking.
Is that make sense?
It doesn't make sense. Now, you see, he's now speaking the same what the copper just spoke earlier on, because it doesn't make sense. And now he is speaking the same as the agent when she said, because it doesn't make sense. Now he's saying the same thing, because it doesn't make sense.
Does that make sense to anyone that's
Does that make sense? Well, it certainly does make sense, because when we start repeating what these agents or centurions, whatever you want to call them, when we start repeating what they're saying, you've pretty much just gone into automatic jurisdiction.
Makes no sense.
Makes no sense. Now, if you go back early in the call, right, what does she say here?
Not a question.
How's it not a question?
That your driver's license as a driver.
But what do you mean by your?
What
do you mean by your?
That's not a question.
How's it not a question?
Because it doesn't make sense. I'm asking you.
You see, boys and girls, because it doesn't make sense, right? And this is an example of hearing, right? Now we go here.
Makes no sense.
Does that make sense to anyone that's
Who are you calling from?
Is that make sense?
Now he's saying it doesn't make sense, right? So this is what I call a perfect. This is the perfect mirror, the perfect mirror to the transaction that just took place. It doesn't make sense, and I don't know what you mean, which is.
Does that make sense to anyone that's
Who are you calling from?
Makes no sense.
Oh, that was beautiful. There you go. I actually had fun with that. Thank you, brother, whoever sent that on. So you start to look at, what the hell is this fucking, let's just do this possession, boys and girls. Well, really? How on point do you think you'll be? And the agents there, the brothers, coppers, whatever you want to call them, they are in perfect alignment to the physics of this technology, and they've provided the perfect mirror. Everything's a mirror, so everything is in perfection, and the whole interaction was a perfect outcome. And the outcome is you've got to go before the court now, and the judge is going to pretty much tear you to pieces in court. And that's and if if you're in possession of all these, it's not that easy in a sense. It's probably a great training, and if you actually don't give a shit about the outcome, then this is the most awesome exercise one could possibly enter into, because it's about humbling oneself, repenting into oneself in actually realising, holy shit, how deep is this chasm that I've created for myself? How deep and what kind of an abomination have I turned into? In realising the very system that actually made me is now the very system that is going to prosecute you. And that's a rude awakening for most people to realise that this I am program is spoken by nearly every human so-called being on this planet. So once you start flipping this program and start going back into question land, it can take quite some time to unfuck yourself, if there's such a thing. What does anyone think about that, boys and girls?
That was beautiful, brother. I enjoyed that thoroughly.
Yeah, and thanks to the brother who put it on, which is really good. So look,
He said it.
Go on.
The brother that posted it said in the chat, if he didn't record the interaction, he would never be able to learn from it.
There you go. That's exactly right. And that's all we're looking at. I was just wondering there. Hey, is Brad still on this call?
Yeah, brother.
Can you find that recording about when I was with the coppers? Can you find that one?
Yeah, I can pull that up. It's just going to take a while, that's all.
Hang on. All right, I'm going to try and find it. Just got to figure this one out because just give me a second. Where is it? Fucking hell.
If you backtrack on Amigos, Booney, you have to backtrack on Amigos. Yeah,
because I want to give the boys an example of how fucked up on point I can be, which is a lot of fun. Let me have a look here. I think was that June? No, not that one. No, not that one. Was it fucking night? There you go. Okay. Anyone want to hear this one? All right, let's have a look at this.
Yeah.
I think we might be able to have a bit of fun. All right, share. Scott. The possessor. Okay, so we're going to listen to something. This will be a little example on what I did. If I did anything there. All right, so let's go into it. All righty. Anyone hear me? Probably talking to myself. I sometimes don't know if anyone's on the call.
Loud and clear, brother.
We're all here, Boon.
All right, good. Sometimes I do a lot of talking to myself. So, all right, what do we got here? Downloading. Excellent. All right.
Hello, mate.
G'day. How can I help you?
All
right. So this is me, allegedly. So this is how I go straight into it. I'll give an example of how may I help?
Driver's license on you.
What do you mean by have?
Do you have one?
What do you mean by have?
It's not a very...
See, they're asking. We'll go through it again. G'day. How can I help you?
I do have a driver's license on you.
Now, I wouldn't see me listening to this and I go, how can I help you? If I was to rephrase it, I wouldn't go, how can I help you? Never use can. But it was 3 in the morning and even I talk a bit of shit sometimes, which is probably most times. So how can I help you? How may I help? How may I help? Yeah, just get the fucking can business out of your fucking brain. That's not a good question. But anyway, still works in some way. What do you mean by have?
Do you have one?
What do you mean by have?
It's not a very difficult question. Do you have a driver's license?
Do you have a driver's license? Now, when you ask, what do you mean by have? You're keeping away from the terminology of driver's license. So you don't need to go into the explanation of driver's license. So it reduces everything back to 0. What do you mean by have?
Do you have one with you physically?
What do you mean by have? So what happened here, I was allegedly speeding probably over 30 kilometres. There was about 4 cop cars that were following me up the road. Now, I don't know if anyone can hear me about this. This is just giving you an example that they were in pursuit of me at 3 o'clock in the morning, and there was no one on the roads. So, I was probably doing maybe 25, 30 Ks over them. I was just cruising. And they basically, they eventually pulled me over, and then we had this song and dance. So here we go. Now, is the car registered to you? Now, I wanted to talk to you boys about the registration. Now, it's nothing wrong with registration or registering your ass if you believe you own it. Now, if it helps, registering your kids or registering the so-called bullshit birth certificate that every asshole out there likes to talk about, there's nothing wrong with all these things if it's there to help, and if it's there to in some way assist in doing things, then register it. The problem with registration is when you're finally asked this question. Now, this is why I'm bringing this up, because one of the brothers is talking about registration. This might help.
Is car registered to you, mate?
Is this car registered to you, mate? All right, this is how they talk down here. Is this baby registered to you, mate? Are these kids registered to you, mate? Is this house registered to you, mate? And all this, whatever you want to call it. So this registration, fine, do whatever you need to do on the wooden idol. When it's time, an agent actually comes before the face that you believe you own, and they're basically asking you the question, is this car registered to you, right? How you gonna consider that offer? Now, just because you registered it doesn't mean it's yours. Just because you've applied for something now is the flip side of it. Before, it was helpful. Why? Once you registered the kids, you received benefits. You received this. You received that. Good. It's all good. That's fine. So that's the benefit. Now comes the liability. The liability side of it is asking the question, did you register it? Now, you're in the shit if you don't know how to consider that question. Did you register the car?
What do you mean?
Ha! What do you mean, asshole? Yeah.
Is the car registered to you?
Now he's got to repeat it. Is the car registered to you? Is the child registered to you? Is this woman registered to you? Right? Now, it's one thing doing it on the wooden idol, right? It's going to help everyone else around you. But when there's an agent coming there, are you going to believe that that's what it is? That's why this is the biggest head fuck, boys and girls, because we confuse. Or should I rephrase it? Do we confuse the registration, right, with believing? Once you register something, hey, this is just a fantasy land, and if you need an ink on paper, here, fuck, I need some federal coupons or so-called dollars to, feed the family. But you need to register this. Yeah, no worries, whatever, register it. Now you get an agent that says, did you register that? What do you mean? Let them explain.
Is this your car?
Do you agree?
Now he goes, is this your car? Now I just go, what do you mean? Or I just asked him, what do you mean? Or what did I say? Do you agree? I just go, you can go, do you agree with that? Or because agreement and possession pretty much hand in hand.
Are you drunk, mate?
Are you drunk, mate? See? That's what happens when you ask these questions. Are you drunk? I love these guys. Are you drunk? You sound like a fucking moron. Yeah. He might be right.
Do you agree with that?
In other words, he's saying, are you drunk? Right? What do you know about drunk? Right? And I go, do you agree with that?
Do you agree with that?
Can you turn the car off for us, please?
Excuse me?
Can you please turn the car off?
See, he's making an order now. Can you please turn the car off? All right. There's a couple of things I could have done there, right? But what did I do?
Do you agree with that?
Thank you, mate.
Would it help?
Yes, please.
All right. See, what I did, I asked him a question. Well, do you agree with that? And then I go, would it help? Right? Anything that actually helps, bring everything back to if it would help. If it helps. Sit the fruitcake down. If it helps, where would you like me? Front or back, or where would you like me?
Thank you, mate.
See? Thank you, mate. He's trying to be nice now, right? Because he's already assessed this guy's a real piece of work. He's a real dumbass, and he's got to treat him a little different. Let's see how.
You all good?
He goes, are you all good? I love these guys, mate. They're really concerned for you. Yeah.
How may I help?
I would like your driver's license, please.
What do you mean?
See? Are you all good? There you go, boys. Are you all good? How may I help? What do you know about fucking good? Is there anyone good? Huh? Well, I'm told if it's true, well, there's only one who is good. I'll leave that to the individual to figure that one out.
What do you mean by your?
You all good?
How may I help?
I would like your driver's license, please.
I'd like your driver's license.
What do you mean by your?
420, go ahead.
Now, around me is 3 or whatever cop cars, 3 or 4, and they're all, there's even choppers in the air and everything, mate. You need to realise that this is the mothership. Everything's on board here. You see, straight away, what are they doing? They've already established a location, right? Location and time. Now, boys and girls, so once they establish time and location, how do you plead, boys and girls? This is all court. Whatever happens out here is all court. Because you go to court and the judge goes, how do you plead it, arsehole? Well, you need to establish, first of all, a where and when. And these guys are doing it right before your eyes. In an instant, it's happening right now.
Turn the car off. Has to stay on for the license then.
Anyone hear that? What's your location? I love these guys. Oh, they're good. They're good at what they do, mate. They don't proceed without location and time. There you go. That's the location. There you go, 3:10 in the flipping morning. Now they've got a where and when, boys and girls. They just got to get you to believe now. And once we've got a believer, what do you think's going on? Once we've got a believer, we can establish charges, right? And charges can only arise from what? Where and when. Imagine that, boys and girls. Imagine that. Don't you love don't you love all those radios in the background?
Hello, how are you?
Hello, how may I help?
Have you got your license?
What do you mean by your?
Your driver's license.
What do you mean by your?
The driver's license that you have that gives you the permission to drive.
What do you mean by have?
Okay, do you have a driver's license?
What do you mean by have?
Do you have one with you in your possession?
What do you mean by have?
See, do you have one in your possession? What do you mean by have?
I've just explained it.
Well, what do you mean then?
Do you have your driver's license with you?
What do you mean by have?
Could you give me your driver's license?
What do you mean by give?
Could you hand...
Are you having fun, boys and girls? What do you mean by have? Could you give me your fucking driver's license or whatever it is?
And me physically your driver's license from you to me.
Are you asking for the wallet? What do you mean by have?
Could you give me your driver's license?
What do you mean by give?
Could you hand me physically your driver's license from you to me?
Are you asking for the wallet?
I'm not asking for your wallet. I'm asking for the driver's license that may be in your wallet or maybe in your pocket or wherever you keep it.
Well, if it helps, I'll see if there's anything in there.
Yeah.
Now, many times I've basically did I need to even produce the wallet or the driver's license? But every time I like to maybe just play a little bit around and exercise a little bit of different angles to it. So on this occasion, I did this.
If there's anything in there, you're welcome to have a look.
I'm not going to go through your wallet.
What do you mean by yours? What do you mean by
Well,
yours?
that's not my wallet.
Well, what makes you think it's mine? Is there anything there that you need? I'm holding it, am I? Is there anything you need in there?
You see, it's very hard to imagine a language when you start realising you're not your own. So when you are your own, you actually believe you're holding it. You think it's yours. You think what you're doing, you even think you're driving, right? This is the illusion of believing that you are your own. And he says, you see, this is probably the hardest thing to conceive about this journey, boys and girls, when one is perceiving that they are the ones in control. In other words, you have a choice, right? You have a choice. That question is the ultimate asshole choice question you'll ever come up with. And the agents are doing it. The judges are constantly asking, well, you have a choice, asshole. And non-stop this choice question comes up. And I just love it when even the so-called gurus out there, they're even asking, oh, it's your choice. You know, you've got a choice on how you want to live it and what you want to do. Oh, it's just the biggest. Anyway, I do go on. Let's just keep going.
Well, I don't see a driver's license.
Oh, well. What about anything you can see that might be of use?
Yes, there's a driver's license in this one here.
Is that what you're looking for?
Thank you, mate.
So anyway, with the driver's license, they're looking through the wallet, and then they saw something, and then I go, oh, is that what you're looking for? So did I say, oh, that's what it is? Oh, is that what you're looking for?
Can you state your full name and address for us, please, pal?
Can you state your full name? You see, it's already in front of them. Now, why do they need me to state my full name? They need you to verify. They need you to verify the registration, boys and girls. Once you verify the registration, once you verify the license, once you verify anything that they are presenting or bringing to you, the verification allows for the charge to be passed on to the belligerent.
What do you mean your
license?
Oh, well. What about anything you can see that might be of use?
Yes, there's a driver's license in this one here.
Is that what you're looking for?
Thank you, mate. Can you state your full name and address for us, please, pal?
What do you mean your? What do you mean by your?
Yours, as in yours.
What do you mean by your?
Do you want me to define it? Really?
As you wish. What do you mean by your?
It is all right. What's going on? What is all this? What's going on?
I'll tell you if you tell me what's going on.
Just talk normally.
Talk.
Yeah.
Just talk normally. You were the complete dumbass. Come on. You really want to talk normal to a fucking retard? Oh, I love these guys. They want you to talk. Talk to the beast. Talk to the wolf. Come on, talk to them, boys. That's all they want you to do.
What do I mean by talk?
What do you mean by that? You tell me what that means.
What's going on? We're trying to have a conversation with you to start with.
We just want to talk.
Keep going. It's Boon. Sorry to interrupt. But after you're finished playing those little snippets, would you be so kind as to play the whole audio or even just for a couple minutes? just so we get the total understanding of it. Pretty please.
Yeah. So what I mentioned very earlier on, boys and girls, the very difference between these calls and any other call that you'll ever hear on the effing planet is that's why it's probably the most frustrating thing that one will ever conceive, because this is like a complete head fuck, which is an examination of every proposition that's coming out of the mouth of man. And that's why it's extremely frustrating. And if I heard it before, I've heard it said before, you're all over the place. Well, actually, am I? When you're on point, or you're just focusing on the proposition, you're right in that moment, listening to what one is saying and asking, what does one mean by what they are asking? Yeah. And that's why this seems so convoluted and nonsense and very distressing to most people who are on these calls. And that's why this renewing of the mind is not as easy as one would imagine, because it's frustrating. Why? Because we want to hear the whole thing. Yes, I'll play it for you. And plus, do I need to play it? Because there is the actual recording now on the platform for anyone who wants to actually go through it. So for the purpose of this call, it's about the frustration that all I'm led to believe that one may receive is the breaking down, which I don't think has ever happened in one's conception, in the breaking down of these assumptions that are happening in every single moment that are extremely frustrating. And that's probably why I don't necessarily recommend these type of calls, because everyone likes to philosophize things and discuss opinions and beliefs and all the bullshit instead of examination of all those assumptions. So I'm happy to play it back for you, boys and girls, just for the sake of one of the brothers. But at the same time, the recording, if I said it was on the platform for all to hear. We're halfway through it, and then we can discuss it.
What the hell's going on?
Well, mate, I'll tell you if you tell me what's going on.
Okay, you're going to tell me? Go on.
I'll tell you if you tell me.
Okay, you're going to tell me what's going on. You have to tell me first.
I have to tell you. Well, if I only knew, you tell me what's going on.
Could you state to me your full name and address, please?
What do you mean by your?
Your full name, so your name probably given at birth, and your address probably where you live. Can you tell me those two things?
Well, I'm happy to tell you if you tell me what you mean by your.
Again, just explained it.
Mm-hmm.
Your name,
yeah,
which is the name given to you.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever.
You see how he talks about the name, right? Very interesting.
Whoever you are,
mm-hmm.
That's your name.
What do you mean by your?
Mm-hmm. Your name, the name that people call you by.
Mm-hmm.
Walking down the street, name that your parents gave you.
Mm-hmm.
That name.
Mm-hmm.
Could you tell us that name?
Sure, I'll tell you that name if you tell me what you mean by your.
Yes. This is fascinating. This is where we want to be right now.
And where's that?
Where is that indeed? Where do you...
Now, you see, I didn't talk about where you want to be. I just said, where's that? And he goes, exactly. This is a comedy show. What a nutcase, this guy asking these questions.
Well, I'll tell you if you...
Where we want to be right now.
And where's that?
Where is that indeed? Where do you live?
Well, I'll tell you if you tell me.
I don't know where you live. That's why I'm asking you. How could I tell you where you live when I don't know you or where you live?
Well, if I don't know you, how am I supposed to know who you are to verify?
Senior Constable Timothy Poltridge from Port Phillip Crime Investigation Unit. I work at 92 Chapel Street, St Kilda.
And do I know you?
No, because I don't know you either.
Well,
I've just told you
then why would I talk to someone who I don't know? I'll tell you.
In Victoria, you are required to identify yourself if you're driving a motor vehicle.
Do you agree with that?
Big one.
Do you agree with that?
Agree with what?
What you just said.
Yes, I do agree with that you need to identify yourself if you're driving a motor vehicle here in Victoria. So that's why we've asked you to identify yourself.
And is that agreement between you and me signed on a piece of paper before the judge?
No reason for it to be signed on a piece of paper.
Really?
Well,
can you put that in writing?
I've just verbally said it to you, haven't I?
And you can verify that?
Do you need it in writing right now?
Oh,
Get a pen and paper, and I'll write it down. I'll write down and ask for your name and address.
You see, there's that question, which is really, is there a signed agreement? What I actually see each time through the learnings of all of this, it all comes back to, are the parties present to consent with what you're saying? In other words, there can't be just one bringing the order. There must be you're going to who's the one who sent this order, right? So that's why a signed agreement actually works in court, asking the informant about that agreement signed on a piece of paper, and also the parties present to consent is very, very important. But when you're asking, I do not consent, you're actually you're in a lot of shit when you ask that question. It doesn't work.
well,
Or does it work?
oh, do you agree with that?
Do I agree with what?
What you're saying?
Yes, that's what I said.
And is that agreement between you and me signed on a piece of paper before the judge?
What do you mean before the judge?
Well, tell it to the judge what you're talking about.
Why would I tell it to a judge? I'm talking to you.
Why are you talking to me? Unless I know you, why would I be talking?
Here on the side of the road, haven't we?
Well, unless I know who you are, why would I be talking to you?
We've already gone over that. I'm senior constable Timothy Post.
Do
Can you see how, is this call going anywhere? Yeah, let's just see where it goes. I fucking love this shit.
I know you?
92 Chapel Street, St Kilda.
Well, what is that supposed to mean?
Well, you asked who I am, so I've told you.
Did I ask who you were?
Yes, you did.
And do you agree with that?
Yeah, because I told you.
And is that agreement between you and me signed on a piece of paper before the judge?
Me telling you who I am, maybe you sign on the piece of paper.
Well, to verify who you are. If I don't know you and you don't know me,
You need to verify.
and I don't know who, and I don't know what you mean by what you're
There you
saying,
go, that's my
well,
identification.
what is that supposed to mean?
You said you wanted me to identify who I am.
No, if that's what you believe you are, that's fine.
Well, I do. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you if you tell me what it is. That's fine. You're telling me that's what it is?
Victoria Police identification.
Fantastic.
Signed off by the chief.
So how may I help?
Well, could you tell me your name, please?
What do you mean by your?
The name that given to you by birth. I believe we've gone over this.
Well,
I think we've gone over this.
would it be you talk to the mother about that?
Why would I talk to your mother?
Well, she's the one that knows.
So you don't know?
Well, who really knows?
You aren't driving here in motor vehicles. We're not. How would I identify you? We'll have to take you back to the police station and identify you there.
Well, do what you need to do.
That is the path you'd like to go down tonight?
What
What do
path?
you mean by take?
That is the trajectory you'd like us not to go? What do I
Well, I'll
have to-
tell you if you tell me what you mean by that.
Okay.
Now, you see, boys and girls, did I repeat any trajectory or any of that fucking shit that he was talking about? I said, as you will, if that's where you need to go, right? But did they end up taking me down there?
I'm here trying to identify who you are as your driving motor vehicle here in Victoria.
Now, this is all about identification, boys and girls. Once you identify yourself, right, through the I am, this is all we're looking at, boys and girls. It's the I am program, right? I am the Father of one, possessor of the heaven and earth. They need the verification of the identification, which is the I am arsehole. And then we can prosecute you and do whatever we bloody like with you.
We believe you may have committed offence.
We believe that you may have committed offence. Well, who the fruitcake is we?
That offence is speeding.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we want to talk to you about.
And do you agree with that?
Yes, I do. That's what I said.
And is that agreement between you and me signed on a piece of paper before the judge?
You keep saying this. Tell me what you mean by that.
Well,
You keep saying it. Tell me what you mean by that.
I'll tell you if you tell me what you mean by what you're saying.
Okay. Really think about what you just said there.
Yeah?
Say it again.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you don't seem to understand what you're saying. I just...
Listen to that. You don't seem to understand what you're saying. I love this stuff.
just said.
And you do?
Trying to work out.
Well, if I don't know what you mean by what you're saying, how am I supposed to know what you're saying?
It's just fascinating.
He's saying this is fascinating. How can a smart fucking constable be saying how fascinating this is with a complete dumbass?
Have you used any drugs or alcohol tonight?
What do you,
Have you used any drugs or alcohol? Oh, it just gets better and better.
what do you mean by have?
It's just fascinating.
Now, why talking to a complete dumbass is fascinating? Can anyone actually explain what's so fascinating about talking to a complete retard?
Do you not understand the word have?
See how they brought the negative? Not, because any not, do you not understand, right? Now that is basically ready for combat. Any sort of not, don't, can't. It's already gearing itself up for the arsehole to respond. Now, how does this arsehole respond?
What do you mean by have?
Do you not understand what that word means?
Am I to understand by this that one agrees to these terms?
I'll have to repeat that for you.
What do you,
You have to repeat that for me. Oh, this is even better.
what do you mean by have?
Do you not understand what the word have means?
Am I to understand by that one agrees to these terms?
That whole sentence makes no sense.
Hey, you want to hear that? That makes no sense. You see? Now, did you hear that in the last call, boys and girls, when the officer, that cute, beautiful-looking woman, and she goes, what did she say? Oh, because it doesn't make sense. Now, are we starting to connect the dots here, boys and girls? Now, the coppers are all saying, this doesn't make sense. I love that. This is complete senseless.
Well, if you don't know what I'm saying, how am I supposed to know what you're talking about?
Do you use drugs?
What are you talking about? What do you mean?
Do you use drugs?
Do you agree with that?
Have you used drugs tonight?
What do you mean by have?
I don't know how else to explain it.
I don't know how else to explain it. Now, boys and girls, is there a bit of what do you think's going on here? I don't know. You think that their program in the interrogation question, they don't know how to actually get this one to understand what it is they mean by what they're saying? Let's see what happens.
Pretty decent answer for
I just attempted to knock close out.
chuck some bullets in.
Yeah, is that orange?
I'm not sure, is that for Audi drive? Part of that package has done for you license if you have the issues.
Daniel.
No, but
Is
otherwise-
Daniel? Can I call you Daniel?
You want to call me a name? You can call me a name.
Your name?
You see, boys? Are you Daniel? Oh, if you want to call me a name, you can call me that. Did I verify that that's who I am?
Did I get it correct?
Yeah, go ahead.
You Daniel? Where's Daniel?
Wait, was it just all correct?
Daniel, what will get you to do, mate? Jump out the car for us?
If it helps.
Yeah, that would help.
All right. So now they said we get soon as what happened is I needed to stretch the legs anyway. So I hopped out of the car and I just dealt with Got, and basically I was back in the car and the guy he goes, oh, here's your keys, right? And then here's your keys. I said, what do you mean by your? And he literally threw the keys out of his cop car to me, and he sped off with smoke in the rubber, and that was it. So there you go. It was a fascinating experience for the powers that be, for the force out there, dealing with these complete retards that are out there on the road. I mean, how wonderful was that? Did they learn from me? Who knows? Did I learn from them? Oh yeah, every time. And dealing with got and get, wow, that's the best thing. So there's a real. If I said, no, did anything come from it? Zero. So that's an example, boys and girls. Down here, if I was to share anyone who's doing the alleged speed that I was doing, they throw them into the paddy wagon, as they call down here, and they take you straight to jail and they impound the car, instant confiscation of the car to the pound, and then you lose the car for say 2-3 months in the pound. You have to pick it up and pay, maybe a couple of $1,000 to pick the car up, and it's a hell of an inconvenience and all the rest there, blah blah. Then you got to go to court and court and court. But hey, if I said I already did that years ago with all these other things, and now I can just do what I did here, and I don't know if this helps. Was this an example of being on point? It was a little maybe rough around the edges, but hey, that's why you listen to yourself and you go, oh, what can I do different next time? Oh, you fucking dickhead, you missed this bit. Okay, I'm gonna make sure if there is a next time that I deal with how may I help instead of how can I help? Or next time they go, get out of the car. What do you mean by get? And then I jumped out of the car, right? And then I'm jumping back in the car because they don't do anything. They can't do anything. And especially when they bring up, don't you not understand? Oh, what kind of language is that? Don't you not understand? Or do you not understand? Not. Be careful, boys and girls, about the NOTs and the DONTs and all those negative vermins. They'll get you every time. Every time. It's an objection to the primal forces of nature. When you answer or speak in a question with a negative vermin in it, you will see the physics unfold before the very eyes that you believe you own. There you go, boys and girls. What's next?
Daniel, does it work the same way if there is no ID to show them?
Oh, yeah. I just gave it. If I said I just gave an example this time with the ID, and there was a few other examples where I did where they pulled me over as well, and there was no ID at all. No ID. Because you've got to realise something, boys and girls. Even though they had no ID, there was no verification of the ID. So it just shows to you all that you don't even need to be carrying the ID on the so-called body that you've been known to use. So the ID is we need to identify you. Well, first of all, do I know you? Most important thing. On this call that I just did with the officer, I did ask, do I know you? But normally I go straight in to do I know you. I go straight into it now, straight off the bat when they pull me over. How may I help? Yeah, bang. And then and anything they say, do I know you? And then they go straight into identification. They go first into the identification of who they are. And then I go from there with the questions on what they're saying. Do I bring anything up? No. Why would I bring anything up? Right? Because anything you say or do, it's the only primal question that is going to work in any way in asking those questions. If it helps in any way.
Daniel, you mentioned
they had even though they have no ID or verification from me in the name of the birth back at the station, but still used it on the alleged bail agreement. If it helps, I will share it on this chat. Yeah. So look, they already, whether you say I am this or I am not that, it still comes out of the mouth, the verification, and the verification is very hard to see initially, but it's really not for me to show. It's only through transcripts that we will. It's only through transcripts and that will reveal the physics of this language that we're speaking, whether and how one has gone into the agreement. And one has already gone into the agreements very, very quickly. And if we can't see that and we're just defending ourselves to believe that I'm on point and I didn't make any claims, or I didn't do this, or I didn't do that. That in itself is already showing the transmission of what's actually happening in a cop station, a courthouse, whatever you want to call it, because it's the transmission of a defence program. That they, whether they got this or they didn't get that, and so forth. So agreement, we can talk about agreement and alleged bail and allegedly this and allegedly that, but unless we start to examine the defence program that comes out of that mouth, it's probably the most hardest thing to change. And it seems to be very hard for one to be humbled into themselves in repenting, in seeing, oh, what a fuck up that I am. I already know I'm a fuck up, but it doesn't necessarily mean, oh, I'm a complete fuck up and there's all this heavy bullshit. No, because I'm looking for one thing, is to go low. Is that low enough? Well, I guess every time I think I'm a little bit higher than I should be, well, maybe, I need to go a little bit lower. And each time it's about going lower and lower and lower.
Daniel, you mentioned something about registration being okay. I just had a question about that. You said,
go on. I think
you said if,
yeah.
You said if you wanted benefits, but what if one desires no benefits at all? Is registration still necessary?
Well, look, down here, you can look. It really depends. If it's no big deal. Look, the problem becomes when you got to register everything, including you scratching your ass. You need to register. Anything you do, you got to register. But look, just for the sake of discussion, and I'll just speak in basic terms if I can. If it's going to help, whether it's the family or the whatever, the people that are surround you or whatever, if it helps, then by all means register it. But if it's going to be more of a hindrance to you, whether the school or whatever it is, most people who do homeschooling in this part of the world, they're still delusional in thinking, they're separate from the system. Well, the idiots or the parents who actually believe that they're homeschooling have already been indoctrinated by the system. Who's escaped the system, boys and girls? I really like to share with, if it's possible, who escapes the system, because even the ones, and down here, if I said, do I know a few parents who have done homeschooling and see the kids grown up, the kids still actually have been grown up with the indoctrination of a technology, which was a language, and now the children speak. And sometimes these homeschooling parents have become more of an indoctrination than the actual school system. Well, I mean, ultimately, who can beat the school system, right? But the indoctrination of the parents doing homeschooling, is there any difference? Well, unless there was the beauty of all of this is with the school system or whatever, is there's always a flip side. And if you can see the answer and the question, if you can start to see that in everything you're doing, then what's wrong with the education system? It's great. It really depends on the individual, on what they're encouraged and what they're taking, and then if you keep drinking from this cup of possession of knowledge, you drink and drink and drink. All you know is to take, and that's all you've been doing all this life, instead of considering before one is taking these programs, and these programs all start from the very simple offer of you, and that's why the individual who is identified to the I am will always take the offer of you, because you is always so concerned about me. I am so fucking important. It's all about me, and now I can defend my so-called program, my, and on and on and on and on it goes. And this is the wonderful success of these programs that have been inserted by each individual, or by an individual, one could rephrase. So registration, if I may say, it's not such a big hoo-ha. If one needs to do it, big deal. But it's about the individual dealing with the agent who comes before you and says, is the car registered to you? How are you going to ask that question? First of all, start with, what do you mean? Let them, is the car registered to you? What do you mean? Well, have you got this, or blah, blah? What do you mean by got? And you'll find that they'll have to do all the explanation. So, the registration on its own, is it a problem? Well, it's only, is it a problem now when you start to verify that registration? The verification of that registration, right, is what comes out of that mouth of man, the mouth that one is using, the mouth that one is now defending this program that they believe they own. Anything else?
Well, I believe that's why I was bringing up registration, because there's a couple agencies trying to put some pressure to register two of the children, and I was led to believe that I was trying to start without the programming and never assign an I am to them and teach them this type of thing, you know.
Okay, well, just pause for a moment. Now, boys and girls, right, is there such a problem with the program, right? Without the program, if you've ever seen the Batman movie and the Riddler, it's complete. You can't just have the program on its own without the Riddler questioning the program. So the I am program, how would you be able to do the training without the I am program? And instead of resisting the program, that's why I'm for the kids going into the main schools, because of the indoctrinations. Yes, they're hard and full on with the I am program, but how is one to balance it out with the answer, and the question being in the answer, and
so
that's where we're going, boys and girls.
So are you saying the kids need to be trained to dissolve their individuality and be a brain dead W-2 employee instead of an entrepreneur?
Hang on a moment. Am I saying anything, first of all, right? And can you hear it in the question? So if you can ask that question again, brother, and I'll be happy to clarify it for you, if it's possible.
Well, it seems as though you're saying public school is a positive thing for the children.
Yeah.
So I've read the book, Charlotte Iserby, The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America. So it seems as though they're trying to make the children as stupid as possible. So I'm just kind of confused why that would be a good thing.
Okay, hang on a moment. All right. So without the doctrine, right, how would you actually learn to break the full doctrine down until you've been indoctrinated? So that's the training ground, boys and girls. There's nothing wrong with the information and okay, if you're chewing on the tree of knowledge, right? And it's a bit like this training ground. It's a hard gig, but without the heavy doctrines of the system and what the system is doing, I find, how would you ever be free of anything without going through it? And this really, if anything, this is really what this I call this planet. If anything, it might be a hardcore war planet because of these doctrines and the weaponization of this information. So that's what these agents, what they're doing is they're pretty much showing you to engage in the weaponisation of terminology and the language, by this not question and these negatives. So how would you know about all these negative averments or possession? I'll give you an example, if I may, Dominion. If I said there were kids with me, probably for the first 7 years, I remember sitting down with the kids when the woman wasn't around or where their mother wasn't around, and I would go through the lawyers, guns and money, documentation from the lawyers and so forth, and there would be red texters or highlight texters, and I would speak to the children. Right, now, underline all the possessive terms, and there was like 60 pages of documents and God knows lots of information. This was, and the children, all they were doing, they were underlining, oh God, get, have, your, mine, give, taken, receive, and then they were going through 30 pages. Like in about 5 minutes, they went through 30 pages and they had all the possession terms. Now, if I told you this is how the barristers of this country actually operate, how do I know that? Wow, what if I said to you, they examined the interviews, right? When I went through the interviews with the coppers there, and I was going to face imprisonment of 16, maybe 17 years, and I only went for 3.5 months. And when I went through to the process of the courts, and when I went through the process, I sat inside the barrister's office, and he would talk to me, and in front of him was underlined if I ever seen this before, have I ever seen the examination of the interview was underlined, was transcript of underlined every possession term. And when I saw that, I didn't even ask him about it, but I saw it and I go, no way. Why are these masters of the universe? All right, do they examine every single possession? And they've already done it. They've already highlighted. Now these people are supposed to be the ones who are in the so-called courts, and they're running the whole system in a sense, and yet they're doing this one thing. So it's not a problem to be indoctrinated, but also, what do you mean by indoctrinated? Indoctrination, right? So that's why is to show the children, put them into the mainstream, then let them examine the offers by the court, by the schools, be encouraged to take possession, and also how would I neutralise this? And that's why all the nots, the don'ts, the can'ts, the stop, all the objectionable sort of language, the children also started to underline and started to look at. And even to this day, now that they're grown up, they look back and they've already remembered, geez, Dad, I remember when you did this and you did that. And now their eyes are highly tuned to possession and so forth. And they're able to look up in the sky and they realise, maybe there is a force out there that we are unable to see, yet it seems to be everywhere. So is it the indoctrination that's the problem? Well, it is if you remain there and we go into resistance of it, or we go into the examination of it, because without the two, how can there be an appreciation of the system in a sense? And it's only once you become a believer that the liability, the burden, starts to eventuate in an individual.
Thank you, brother. That makes a lot of sense.
So you know, are we trying to avoid the system? Because without the system, how could anyone possibly appreciate you know, the physics of this language? And that's why the coppers are in perfect alignment to the language that, or the technology that one is using before them. They're without fault, and it's hard to imagine such things. They're highly trained, and they're trained very, very well in the art of this technology, and everything they do is in perfect balance. And if they drag your ass out of the car, that's the perfect balance because of the objections and the language that we're using, and so forth. Did they, you know? So it's very important to consider what's happening to you. You need to ask yourself, well, you know, is there a lesson in there for me? And what can I learn from that? And is there a place where I can be humbled by my arrogance, by my thinking I fucking know some shit? And if I think that I know shit, I'm unable to actually listen to the judge, which was in the early call, early in this call, going through that example with the judge. And these are all examples on how we speak from this defence program. So is it up to you? Is it up to the individual if they had a choice? And that's why I love that Elton John song. What is it? If it be your choice. Yeah, if it be your choice. I think that's Nikita. You go and listen to that, the words in the Nikita song. Oh, it's absolutely like angel music. Absolutely beautiful. Also that Leonard Cohen song, If It Be Your Will. Another gorgeous song. They don't talk. It's up to you. What an arsehole who says, it's up to you. Fuck you. Here's your gun. Blow your brains out. It's up to you. Fuck. Yeah, it's rephrase. Start thinking about, do we really know how to use this fucking language? Because if it's not your language, anything you say or do is going to be fucking a rude awakening. It's going to come home. Look out for the anvil falling from the sky. It might be on top of that head that you believe you own. Anything else?
There's a warrant that I uploaded, but we could do that another time if.
Oh yeah, yep. No, that's good, bro. I wouldn't mind doing that. Did you send it to me already?
I sent it to the group chat. I can send it to you if you want me to.
Yeah. Hang on a second. Let me just. Oh, that's in the narrow. Hang on, that's in the.
Well, I said I sent it.
It's in the Skype chat.
Skype chat. Okay. All right. Well, look, we can go through that. Yeah, we can go through that. New recording. Oh yeah. Okay. That's fine.
I just sent it again.
Yeah, that's fine. So there's a lot. Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Yes. So just in a sense to this, there's a lot in that. In fact, when is the next court date for this? Yeah, when is it?
I actually spoke to a lawyer and asked him because I was kind of confused because it's in what's called VL status. It's from a case from 4.5 years ago. I appealed it to Superior and I never showed up because I was unaware when the court date happened. So since then, I tried to reach out to the judge and the clerk and try to speak to him about it, but there was a $4,000 cash bond issued for a failure to appear. And so when a recent thing happened, they figured out that those 2 warrants had yet to be served, and so they wanted $4,000 before they let me out.
All right.
in cash, and then they handed me this warrant. So,
Okay, just pause for a moment. So when I went to court once, and the judge said to me, you know, you've been given a notice, a warrant, an order, you know, to come to court or whatever it was you were given. And I said, oh, did someone tell me about this? And he goes, yes, you were told. And I said, so who would have told me? Who told me about this? See, telling is about knowledge, information. So whether you always ask the judge, did someone tell me about this? Yeah. What do I know about any of this fucking shit, right? And when you've been informed is another word for being told, right, about the order. Yeah. Now, when I asked the question, oh, did someone tell me about this? And the judge had to look across to the prosecution and say, well, you guys, he didn't get this. He didn't get this fucking order. You better deliver it to him. Now, the next couple of days after the court, which was adjourned, the next day, there were 4 cars that turned up to the property and hand delivered the fucking piece of paper to the so-called mother who was at the time at the property, blah, blah, blah. But the funny thing was, it still didn't matter, right? But just that they had to hand deliver it, it came back to, you guys didn't tell him. Now they need that you have received this document. And even in court, when you go back, it's still, you know, is it hearsay? And it still comes back to what comes out of your mouth. So go through these documents because it's all there, boys, to the defender. Yeah. You can actually, let's have a look. Where is it? Let's have a look at this one. All right. This is just a bit of fun. How do you turn it around? It's a complete dumbass like me. How do you do it? How do you turn this around? Anyone? Anyone got any brains? How to sort of bring?
I can try to fix it. Let me see.
Yeah.
Click those 3 dots at the top right.
All right. Anyway, if you guys can do that, that'd be good. Yeah, just make it simple for this complete retard on this end. You know, because you see, this is an example. These documents, this is you could call it the basis for the unlearning of the doctrination, the indoctrination. And once you start to, oh, beautiful, thank you. Okay, so once you start to, this is all about the doctrination, the indoctrination in the school, and you putting your kids through the school. And this might sound weird. How can this be true, right? Because the doctrination is there, and it starts back to, see how it says up here, to the defendant? There you go. That's the defendant program, the defence program, the name above. Is anyone starting to jerry onto this bullshit?
I believe so.
I don't know, brother. Look, this is not as easy as one might think, because this is every single day up to 3 o'clock in the morning, unfucking yourself. Who the fruitcake wants to do it? It's not an easy gig, boys. To the defendant, name above. Good. You are ordered. Okay. Now, underline ordered to appear. Okay. Before the court. I'd underline appear before. Now, provide. How many times have we heard you are to provide the identification? You are to provide. This word is huge. Once you believe you're a provider, well, now you're the possessor, right? If you don't ask the right questions, well, you'll get the right answer. The provide above and all subsequent. Underline that. I mean, look, you know, this indoctrination, if one doesn't want to reverse engineer the indoctrination from the schooling days, you might as well just accept the stake, like in the Matrix, and just keep on living the way you are, because the indoctrination of this knowledge, the information, it's very hard to unfuck yourself. But the best way to unfuck yourself is through these letters, with the system, the courts. This is the beginning of the work. If you don't do the work, wow. I just wonder why is if anyone is even on this call. Because if you don't do the work, because the workers are few. Go look that scripture up, if there's such a scripture in the book of covenant, the agreement book, the Bible, whatever you want to call it. Go look up that scripture says where the workers are few. Because this is the workers. There's few of them who wants to study the system, right? To unfuck yourself and be like the prodigal son, go out into the world. And then by coming back to the Father is to unfuck yourself. Yeah? Come back to the Father is through the system. You're going into the eye of the storm. The one place. Who wants to go there? Few, if any. Subsequent. Underline that. Dates. See, there you go. Dates again. If you fail to appear, right, you will be arrested. Good. Now, underline all the you. See how many times you come across you. Keep going. These are underlining. If you don't underline this you, if you fail, you may be charged with the crime. Willful. See? Willful. It's to do with your will. Failure to appear. You also. Keep looking up this word, boys and girls. Put a big text on. Pink, red, blue, green, yellow, whatever colour you like. Fucking start unlearning. Underline this shit. Because this stuff, what I'm talking about, if I'm talking about anything, again, who the fuck wants to do this? Underline these yous. When you start hearing you and seeing you everywhere, you're going, holy shit, this is fucking for everyone. You also may be arrested without a warrant. Yeah. What do you mean by warrant? Yeah. If you violate. What's a violation? Transgression. What's a transgression? You're taking possession of the possessor's property. Underlying condition. Release. Order. Documents. Doctrines. The doctrines of man. The wooden idols of man. Incorporated by reference. Yeah. There you go. This is your schooling. This is the programs, boys and girls. Refer to the program, the documentation, the doctrines of the programs that you've been taking. How can this be true? This is bullshit. There's no way this can be. I mean, you mean I'm fully programmed and I'm completely I'm in the doctrines of this fucking matrix? What happened to me? I'm fucked. Yeah, put a bullet in my fucking head. That might be a start. Or what's the alternative? Do you want to unfuck yourself? It's right here, right now. The defendant, the defence program. That's what we're looking at. I'm defending a program that was encouraged to take. And what did I do? Maybe you should go and watch that movie, The Devil's Advocate. Oh, I love that movie. Why? Because he goes, the stage was set. And you arseholes, what did you do? You took it. You took the offer and you become in possession. See, the defendant has in possession, has been advised. Now, once you've been advised, you've been informed. Once you've been advised, have a look at advised. Big word. Underline that in all your colourful rainbow colours, right? Advised. Is that something I was told? Did you tell me about that? These are questions you ask in court. How do I know about all this fucking telling bullshit? Oh, did a barrister fucking tell me? Huh? He asked the questions that started to chop off the canopy of the tree, and then you're left with the trunk of the tree. And he asked, did you tell Daniel that the quantity was this, this, and this? Or did you tell Daniel about blah, blah, blah? No further questions, Your Honour. How's an arsehole supposed to know anything unless he was fucking told? Oh, he must have interpreted something. What an arsehole. Now that you get your bill, you're an interpreter. If you interpret this language, go to jail. You're an interpreter. You're fucking God. Good. Interpret it against him or her. It's her right to communicate. Ha! What did the cops say? We just want to talk to you. We just want to talk to you. Now you're going to court. Right? Now you've got a right to communicate. Because those centurions, they did a good job. They got you to believe. Because you're just an asshole. You believe. These centurions, now you're going to go to court, and the judge said you've got a right to communicate with counsel. That's right. And friends of the council. It won't be your family that you think has got the friends there. And your possession, your release is authorised upon execution of your possessions. Huh? There you go. This is wonderful, boys and girls. If no one does the fucking homework, really, I mean, boys, who studies the system? It's the one system that you grew up with. It's the one system that's going to put you in the box. So, are we going to wake up? Or we're going to be asleep for the rest of this fucking lifetime? You know, written promise to appear. Okay, promise. Underline that. What's a promise? Unsecured bond in the amount shown above. House arrest. That's right, because the house is in fucking disarray. It's in a fucking mess. You're in possession, and you may leave your possession, your residence, for the purpose. See, you ever heard the movie Resident Evil? Yeah, Resident Evil. Go watch that movie. In possession of property that don't belong to you, motherfucker. All this shit here, mate, there's a lot of gold in here, but would anyone see it? Your possession, your release is not authorised. Is anyone following this fucking shit, boys and girls? I mean, it's right here. The defendant is required. Do you know what required is? Underline it. The defendant is in possession to provide. That is in possession. You're a provider. You're the possessor. Then give all your fingerprints, because it's yours to give. Because you're not going to ask about anything. You're only going to tell. It's all here the defendant has. The defendant is a possessor, charged with a felony, on probation, arrested in violation, is in transgression of the prohibition. Look it up. That's what the barrister said. What was it? Not the barrister. What do they call prosecution? Look it up. And I go, what's that? You don't ever say. You don't ever bring up terminology in court. What's that? What's that supposed to be? That's all you say. What's that?
Daniel, I have a question about terminology, if that's okay.
Well, is there a question about terminology? Then go ahead.
Right on, brother. So you say never bring up terminology, but then you say to bring up when they say your or have.
Yeah.
So why is it okay to bring up that terminology instead of say, what do you mean by that at that time?
Well, is a question bringing up something? Or is a question that's neutral is the only thing that's allowed in court? And if I said that possession is the only thing that you can ask in court that does not incriminate you in any way, unless you're trying it out, boys and girls, without adding anything to it or subtracting from it, how's one possibly going to find firsthand whether this is possible or not? But the problem is when the head is full of the doctrines of the upbringings and the doctrines of beliefs and opinions and the reactions. That's why offences are so good. That's why the more one is offended by the other, that's fantastic. Because if you can be offended by someone, at least you know, fuck, what a fuck up. There's a hell of a lot of work for me to do. Because the offence is what you want to be. If you're offended and you can start seeing it, that's great. Because you know you're in violation of the primal forces of nature. And if it's true, Keep being offended by any arsehole that calls you names. It's great. That's why I like a lot of the chats that's been going on lately. Everyone's fucking, oh, you're blaming this and blaming it. Who gives a shit? So what? Who cares whether you're pointing the finger and if you're offended by it? Or what? Anyone ever heard of sticks and stones and break my bones? But would names ever hurt me? Why should a name ever fucking hurt you? Unless you identify with it. Unless you're in possession of a word, right, which is now a violation. Any word that you're in possession, it's a violation. Yeah. Is the word with the possessor? Is the word always been with the property of the possessor? Or God, as one wants to call it? Is that a terminology? Wow. So the defendant, keep looking up this word defendant. Unlearn, unfuck yourself. Because you've learnt to be a defendant when you're in the school. To be so this is what school's about, teaching you how to defend yourself. To be a defendant, not to defend yourself. You get a lawyer for that. So school is about pass on the doctrines so that you can learn to be a defendant. You can learn how to be encouraged and how to take this program and then start to defend this program. The very system that's going to charge you with these offences is going to bring you up as a fine young citizen. And now we can put you through Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Every drain does it have its claim. No judge has acted upon the statute 48 hours defendant's arrest, blah, blah, blah. Defendant was arrested, surrendered after failing to appear required, blah, blah, blah. Your possession, your release is subject to the conditions. There you go. All these fucking 0 C's and fucking 0 that. There you go. So there's a lot there, boys and girls. A lot there. Agree. There you go. This is a good one. Oh, that's the other one, Bonez. So it's the agreement. Look, we can go through this another time, but for today, I don't know if it's helped. But there you go. The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. So the harvest is basically the claimants. There is an endless amount of claimants out there who are making a hell of a lot of claims in the world. You know, do you want to change the way one is speaking out of that pie hole? That's not always easy. So there you go, boys and girls. I don't know if any of this makes sense. It just shows, whoa, this is a lot to consider, a lot to head fuck yourself, a lot of unlearning. And can you do it without the scripture, the dictionary, and the system? They're the three things that go hand in hand. And if you think you can do it all on your own, wow, that will be the biggest fall one can possibly fall into, an abyss that is there a bottom to this. And that's why the only way, and if it's true, there's another scripture, it's about the brotherhood of man being uplifted together. If there was a scripture there where the uplifting of the brothers is doing this together, who can do it on their own? Did I ever do any of this by myself? Fuck no. Was there brothers who were there that we constantly bounced off one another? Absolutely. So ponder, consider these things, brothers. Anyway, I'm going to call it a day or night, whatever you want. Maybe we can reconvene another time. Anything else one wants to talk about?
Just want to say the charges that led to that warrant are literally possession and possession. I just thought that was perfect for.
Oh, is that what we're talking about, boys and girls? Possession. Right. This is the doctrines of man. They give you all the wonderful terms of God and Jesus and all these terms. But who actually is actually considering what is this possessor? Once you take the possessor's property, well, now you're in possession. You're the possessor. And that's why when you go to the box down here, everything is labelled from a pen. Everything's labelled possession. The pen is the property of the possessors. But when you make a claim, that's my pen. Well, now who's holding the bill? Okay, and it's spelled out in front of us. Is it? Is it spelled out? And is it everywhere? Can we see it? Or are we so blind by it because we're just on the take? And when you're on the take, what is it about being on the take that completely blinds and deafens the ears of man? What is it about that? All right, boys and girls. Should we call it a night? Anyone else wanna go hoo-ha about something or what? We've got Gio, we've got Underdog, Toto, Rob, Dominion, and Bones. If it's been of help, excellent. Yeah.
Beautiful, brother. Peace and love, y'all. Peace and love.
All right, brother. We'll call it a thing. If there's, I don't know, if you do a little, you know, I like those. Those little YouTube things. I think they're pretty good. I think they're quite funny, actually, the way you put them together. So certainly, it might be helpful for the ones around who, I don't think
Glad you enjoy it, brother.
I don't think there's too much cutting and pasting of them, but anyway, if it makes it easy, we just can something to consider there anyway. All right, boys, lots of love. Maybe catch up with you another time.
Peace off.
See you guys.
Cheers, boys.